Hello, hello. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Got a few more minutes for everybody to jump on. It is 11:57, so we'll give them a few more minutes before we dive in today, covering how we're going to clean our hearing aids, implants, in-ear monitors. We'll touch a little bit on certain kind of earplugs as well as we dive in. So just hang tight and we will be going live in just a few minutes. All right, we got about 2 more minutes before we're going to jump in with all the content today. All right, perfect. All right, if you're just joining us, thank you. We're just waiting 1 more minute to jump in. If you have any specific questions before we dive in or while we're going along, feel free to leave a comment. And we'll give them 1 more minute. If you're checking in today, we are going to cover cleaning different kinds of hearing devices. So hearing aids, in-ear monitors, different kinds of implants. Most of what we'll be going over today, you should know already, so it really should be a refresher course for you. Hopefully get you through and get you back online. All right, it is noon. So if you were here with me last week, we had some technical difficulties. So I'm excited we are starting on time today. This is part 2 of a 3-part series. The third part will be done this coming Thursday. Oh my gosh, time's going so quickly. So what we're going to cover today is a refresher on simple troubleshooting techniques for your hearing devices that 90% of the time it will get you back online. If you're on, give me a thumbs up, make sure the audio is good. That would be great. And we'll get started and dive right in. So what happens when your hearing aid stops working, right? Usually it's going to become weak or distorted or be dead altogether. You guys have worn your hearing devices into the shower. My dad called me today saying he had done that yesterday. And the way that he tried to fix his hearing aids was he put them in a bag of rice and then put them in the sun to dry. So they're still working, which is good, but there was a better way to do that. So I want to make sure you guys have the tools. Things like that happen. It'll probably happen again, right? If they're good fitting hearing aids, we're going to tend to forget they're in our ears and do something with them maybe we weren't supposed to. So I just want to make sure you guys are prepared if that comes up. So first thing we are going to cover today is hearing aids, in-ear monitors, and earplugs. So let's get started. All right. If you are one of my patients, you've definitely heard me say this before. If your hearing device stops working and you have batteries, first thing you should always do is change the battery. So even if you changed it yesterday, it could be a bad battery. So start with that. That's super simple, easy. A lot of the times that's going to be the issue and the easy fix. If you have a rechargeable hearing device, obviously, I don't want you going in there trying to change that battery. Go ahead and let's see what we've got here. Just take your device, put it in that charger, right? and then just take it right back out, right? Make sure it's plugged in or it has a power pack on there. That way we get that hard reset of the device. Again, most of the time, especially for my rechargeable patients, that'll be an easy fix. For most rechargeable hearing devices, let's say that you're at work, hopefully, you're back to work next week or the next couple of weeks, right? You may not have your charger with you. For the different hearing manufacturers, most of them you can press and hold part of that button down for 5 seconds. Just count 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Let go. That's going to turn your device off. And then to turn it back on, you're going to press that button again 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. And that'll get you a hard reset. If your devices are still not working after you change your battery, we talked about in part 1 last week, regular cleaning. Go ahead and do that and take a little extra attention to cleaning off those little microphones, right? So if this gets plugged up here, the sound's not going to be able to get through. And so that's pretty typical when we have any different style of hearing device. Just clean off those microphones with your little brush, or again, that soft bristle toothbrush is especially helpful if it's not working properly, if it's weak or it's dead. It just helps you get in there, make sure you get the right spot, just in case you're not confident of where that would be. Okay, if it's still not working, and you have a hearing aid like this, so yeah, this style, right? These all have little filters built into them. Some InEar monitors even have that as well. So if you have a filter, 9 times it has something called a dome on the end. There can be different couplings here, so we'll talk about the other 2 that might be on there, and how to deal with those. So if you have this on the end, you're going to take it off. It should be kind of give you a pretty good pull, because we don't want it coming off in your ear. So it comes off a little tough. You're a little nervous. That's actually a good sign that it was on there nice and secure. So once you get that off, you can see there's a little white piece in there. That's going to be your filter. So in your supplies, you should have a little packet like this. It might be a different color, but inside here are going to be little sticks. Each one of these sticks has an empty end on it and a new filter on this end. So what you're going to do is take that empty end, you're going to line that up here like that, okay? And then you're going to pull out that filter. Now we're going to have a new filter on this end, go in just like that, okay? And then pull that stick out. Once you've used that stick, it's got a dirty filter on the other end. Go ahead, toss the is that you get that dome on fully. So if it is not on there all the way, it could come off in your ear. We really don't want that. It's okay. It's an emergency. I can see you for that right now, but I'd really rather that we didn't have to do that. So on your dome, on the inside, there's a little cup on the inside. We need to get that cup along the stem. I like to come at it at like a 90-degree angle like this. You're going to pop it on over on the top. I don't know if you could see that. So when I give that a pull, right, it's on there nice and tight. If you get it on there kind of loose, right, it's just going to pop right off. So make sure once you get that all the way on, give it a little pull, make sure you got it on there nice and secure. All right. Most of the time, that's going to do it for you. When you have different coupling on the end of your hearing aid, like this one here, you actually don't have to take anything off. So you can actually see that little white piece right there. You can just go right in, get that in there, take it out, new filter on this end, like that. I have for this style of hearing aid is a soft mold. This one, it's going to be hard to get it in there. So what I would recommend, if you need to change that filter, you can do that, but you're going to have to take off this mold here. So always do one at a time so you have a reference hearing aid to know how it goes back on. Because if you take them both off at the same time, because you're trying to be efficient, makes sense, you can get yourself into a little bit of trouble. You can get it on upside down, backwards. We don't want to make your ear sore by getting it on there wrong. Again, these are going to be in there pretty tight, so it doesn't come off in your ear. So you might have to give it a little bit of pull to get that through. It's kind of, there we go, just like this. And then we could change that filter like we did earlier. Once we need to put it back on, generally speaking, you'll have some kind of print on the front. The front is going to be facing away from you when you put this back in. So you want the little sprout to go up. If you can see the wire kind of coming up, just like it would sit on my ear. And it's going to come right in through here, just like that. All right. Let's look here. Okay. If your hearing aid is still not working after you did all those things, and you have batteries, something to check on your batteries. Let me find one here. If you remember, your battery has two sides. It's got a flat side and a round side. Sometimes we get in a hurry, or if we're doing it in the dark, right, we may accidentally go, you're not going to have that power that you need. So if you do that, take it out. Again, make sure it's in there that right way. Give her a close. Should close nice and easy. If you had it in the wrong way, sometimes that can damage the battery. So maybe grab a fresh battery before you stick it back. Bone anchored implant users have batteries. Let's use actually the bone anchored implant here. Just bigger, so it's just easier to see as far as the battery port goes, and it opens up kind of nice so you can see it on the screen. So if you have battery contacts, sometimes what will happen is we'll get some moisture in there, and I'll look in there when I'm in the lab and I'll see that it looks kind of green. Brush that out here and here. Also getting down in this section here. If you have some of those wipes that I talked about last week, so we're looking at environmental wipes, you can take one of those. Guess can't really read it. Okay, I know that I'm not a fan of Q-tips, but this is one of those opportunities when it might be useful. You can kind of put that Q-tip in the end here, kind of wrap it up nice and tight. And then you can actually go into those contacts, connect with the battery, and you're going to not have power, or you'll move that contact and the door won't shut anymore. So just be careful, be gentle, but if you see that in there, go ahead and give it a try. Probably not going to make the situation worse. Okay. If you have rechargeable, see this a lot. At first, everything's working good, and then got a little mirror there. Okay, and then all of a sudden it stops working quite as well, or we're not getting as long of battery life. Sometimes the contacts actually in the charger itself could use cleaned out too. So again, the only use you can use for usually help. I just noticed a lot with some of these really tighter contacts versus some looser ones, but you can do this on any brand of rechargeable hearing aid too. Okay, I think that covers it for hearing aids. If you guys have any other questions about cleaning hearing aids, please leave a comment. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, duh, my dad's putting them in the shower thing. Okay, so if you wear them in the shower, they get wet. That can happen. Always take your cloth, right? As soon as it happens, wipe off everything, right? Again, use that brush. We're trying to get that moisture out of those ports, all right? My dad put his hearing aids in rice. I don't recommend that since there is that I don't know, powder, whatever, the film that's on the rice, that can get into those teeny tiny little microphones there and get you plugged up. So we don't want to do that. So instead, brush them out, wipe it down. If you have a blow dryer, put that on the cool setting, right? So mine's usually, it's like a little button on top. Use that blow dry your hearing device off, just like this, okay? Then lay it out to dry, right? Don't put it in the sun. And if you do, and I'll be sending this to my dad later, I don't think he has one. If you have a dryer, put it in there. And that'll help pull out that moisture. Some hearing chargers have a drying unit built into them, like this one here. So there's like a little decusant beads that go in there. Go ahead and put your hearing device in there right away to, again, try to pull out that moisture before it gets stuck in there. So I think my dad will be okay. However, he might have to repair it sooner than if he would have followed those other steps. So that moisture might percolate in there and make an effect later on. Okay, so let's move on to InEar monitors real quick and earplugs. So, where's that other earplug? Okay. Like I said before, I've got these InEar monitors for running, so they're wired a little bit differently. Mine actually have that port for a wax filter, so that's a pretty quick and easy way to clean my monitors if they were to stop working. Usually it's going to be that wax filter again. So again, we're going to grab that filter out here and then put the new one in through here. So same thing as those hearing aids. If you have a soft monitor, which most of you that are my patients do, have any debris stuck in there. A lot of times when the monitors stop working, has to do with the wiring. So we're probably going to have to send that in. Not a lot of easy troubleshooting at home. For example, this is one side of my monitor and this is the other, right? You're not gonna be able to troubleshoot this. I got it stuck in a car door many months ago and should have sent it in for repair a long time ago. It did not look this bad when I first broke it. So anyways, this is something obviously you just can't troubleshoot at home. Another note, don't put glue on there. It's going to harden that mold and make it worse. This is a swim plug. This is a sleep plug. If it's still blocking the sound and it is still blocking the water out, it's still comfortable, don't worry about it. Keep using it. Once we need a new one, we'll order a new one. If it's a newer plug within like the last 3 months or so, then do let me know and we can send that in for repair. It's still under remake warranty. If your earplug or your ear molds stop fitting as well, the size of your ear changes with weight changes. So little embarrassing story. When I started my practice, I'd gained a lot of weight and I tried to use some of my old earplugs and they did not fit very well. So I had to make new impressions of my ears and get some new plugs made. So if your weight changes even up to even at minimum 6 pounds, sometimes that can change that seal. So you get bigger, your ear canal gets smaller. If you get skinnier, your ear canal gets bigger. So just kind of keep that in mind. Things are going to change and we can always change with them. It's just not something that you can troubleshoot, unfortunately. Okay, got InEar monitors, hearing aids, earplugs. Okay, let's move on to implants. So with your cochlear implant, if it goes totally dead, go ahead, take off your battery, try a new one, right? We can also get moisture on these contacts too. We talked about that last time. So if they really stop working, go ahead and use this combination again to clean off the contacts here. If it's still not working, it could be your little microphone covers up here. So these ones are pretty easy to see. I'm going to do the demonstration on the off-ear implant just because it's a little bit more complicated, but it's going to work the same way as the behind the ear implant. So on here, right, Again, if it stops working, go ahead and change those batteries. You guys know how to do that already. But we can also change the mic filters on this little one too. So you can see the openings to the mic filters here and here. What we're going to do is we're going to take off that cover. That's going to expose the actual mic covers down through here, which is pretty cool. So in your implant supplies, you're going to have a little tool that's going to look like this. All right. You're going to take that tool. Let's see here. You can do it while I'm still looking here. We're going to line it up with that filter, push it down. Oops, hard to do without looking at it. Right, and that's going to pull that filter off. So it's pretty cool. So you're going to do that for both sides. And then inside your packet, you'll have something that looks like this. This is going to be some replacement mic filters. So notice that roundness, it's the same size, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do, once you have both of these out, is you're going to line these up like this. All right, give her a little push. All right, that'll get that set, and then peel this off, and you've got your new filters in there. All right, to put it back together, you know, you have your button up here. You want to line your button up here. And I'll just pop right back into place, nice and easy. And then we want to put our battery cover here. Same thing with the behind the ear implant. So we're going to grab it in here, right? Pull that out. This one here. Arrow towards front. Right like that to get them switched out. Peel that out, and that'll be a new one. All right, perfect. If your implant is still not working after you change your battery, change your mic covers, make sure that your coil is on nice and tight. So if this is on loose, right, you're not going to have, you might be able to hear, but it might be weak, or it might be distorted. So just make sure that's in there nice and tight. All right, guys, I think that covers most of our typical troubleshooting. It should fix it 90% of the time. If you're still having trouble after trying all those tips and tricks today, please reach out to me. We can schedule a troubleshooting session, do the repair Dropbox, whatever you need. I'm going to re-record this video and the first one in a different way to make it a little easier for you guys to jump in and out of what you want to watch. So just be on alert. I think that'll be coming out later this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you can leave me some feedback, that would be great. I'm new to this, so figuring it out with you guys, but it's really fun to check in and you know, be able to connect with you in some way during this time. I'll send out an announcement later this week. We are going to open back up next week, which is exciting. So we'll be able to connect in person again. So if you have any feedback, again, leave a comment. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed today's content, please give us a thumbs up so I know how we're doing. All right, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.